Hey guys, what's up? Alright, so it is November 17, 2012, the first week of Season 3 that I am here. At my grandparents' house, of course. So, I was going to review Episode 3 as it happened. I was going to react to this show live. Unfortunately, I came here a few minutes just before it happened, and once I started recording, the show was already past its intro, and yeah, also, I forgot to log in so I could chat whilst recording, so sorry, can't do it there. But today is not a review episode, nor is it going to be a reaction video to that. Instead, it's not an update, it's not a reaction, is what I mean. Instead, I'm going to be doing what I call the brand new version of my little review. Now, I know I've used a few of these terms before with my little review. My little update I've used time and time again, to update you guys why I'm not posting videos. But in this case, I actually mean this is my little review. So, basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reviewing every single episode of Friendship is Magic, starting with episode 1 and going to the current episode. Now, of course, with Christmas around the corner, I might actually have to skip a few and then review Heartwarming Eve on the Christmas vacation, on the Christmas weekend that I'm here. So I might have to go a little off track. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about Friendship is Magic Part 1. Now, here's how these are going to go down. Basically, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be, all the details that I'll be talking about are actually on the Friendship is Magic wiki page. I'll just be telling it to you guys, so if you don't want to watch the episode, I'll just, talk about the episode. And if you guys like what you hear from the description, you can watch it yourself. So, that's what it is. So, there you go. This is it. No turn back now. This is the first ever My Little Review. This is My Little Review. Friendship is Magic, Part 1. Now, you guys say, this is of course from the Brony community that established Friendship is Magic Wiki. So, this is where you're getting it from. You guys can check it out if you want. Also, you can check out the actual episode. I mean, I've seen most of these episodes before, maybe like 2 or 3 times before. So, each episode maybe 2 or 3 times. There have been like a few episodes that I've seen a little less, maybe just like 1 time, done, or something like that, but anyway. So, Friendship is Magic, Part 1. This is the first episode of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. This premiered to coincide with the debut of its airing television channel, The Hub. This basically aired on the same day that The Hub aired. Now, in this episode, Twilight Sparkle, a purple unicorn, you'll see from the show, is tasked by Princess Celestia, the white alicorn, with going to Ponyville, brand new place, to make some friends. There, she meets fellow ponies Pinkie Pie, the pink pony, Applejack, the orange one, Rainbow Dash, the blue Pegasus, Rarity, the white unicorn, yeah, but smaller than Celestia. Celestia's a lot more taller. And Fluttershy, the yellow Pegasus. This episode is also referred to as Mare and the Moon, so it doesn't get mixed up with like Friendship's Magic Part 1, Part 2. It's also known as Mare and the Moon, which is another title for Nightmare Moon, the villain, on Hasbro's viewing guide. So this episode is number 1. This is season number 1. Season episode number 1. Overall episode number 1. It aired on October 10th, 2010. A year, a month, and a day before Skyrim. So, what's going to happen? Somebody thinking, oh, what's going to happen now? I can't believe Skyrim's a year old. That's amazing. Anyway, this episode was written by the creator of the show, Lauren Faust. Storyboard artists were Tom Sales, Mike West, Sharan Johnson, and Sam Toe. There are also some transcripts, allusions, animation errors, statistics, speculations. We'll talk about those later. But here we go. Here's basically what it is. The plot of the booklet bundled in the Friendship is Magic gift set is similar to the plot of the series' 2 opening episodes. So if you wanted to see the Friendship is Magic gift set, it's basically what it is. In the prologue, the episode opens with a brown book with a unicorn on it that reads, "Once Upon a Time." And the narrated prologue begins telling of the 2 regal sisters that ruled together over a magical land of Equestria, shown stylistically in the series of slightly animated drawings resembling medieval illustrations. It's pretty cool. The sisters are shown as 2 slender unicorn Pegasus ponies. I'm sorry, I cannot say slender without doing that. If you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys like unicorn Pegasus ponies. That means mixed alicorn. One pinkish white and the other bluish violet. The narration continues that the eldest used her unicorn power to raise the sun, while the younger would bring out the moon at night. Time went on, and the younger sister became resentful for ponies of Equestria enjoyed the day, but slept through the night. Sounds like a normal day, right? You're awake during the day, but then, you try to do some stuff during the night, and then you go to sleep. What? Anyway, one night, she refused to lower the moon. I look at this and I'm like, what? This madness had transformed her into a, quote, wicked mare of darkness, nightmare moon, unquote, who vowed to shroud Equestria in eternal night, forcing her sister to use the magic of the elements of harmony to banish her to the moon. This starts Act 1, studying in Canterlot. The narration switches to the voice of Twilight Sparkle, a unicorn pony who is laying in the grassy patch in Canterlot reading the book. She finishes by narrating that the eldest sister has been responsible for both sun and moon, and has maintained harmony in Equestria for generations since. She then tries to recall where she's read about the elements of harmony before, and the scene fades to the theme song. That officially ends the prologue, and goes into the theme song. That starts off Part 1. Sorry. Now, as Twilight is walking along, 3 more unicorn ponies, Lemon Hearts, Twinkle Shine, and Minuet, aka Colgate, stops her. They all stop her and invite her to a party for Moon Dancer, who's apparently not in the group. She politely refuses with the excuse of having to catch up on her studying and runs off. To which Twinkle Shine, the only one that actually talked, remarks that Twilight is more interested in books than friends. Twilight continues running through Canterlot, passing Amethyst Star, the one that was in Lyra, and Lyra Heartstrings, the one that was Lyra. Lemon Hearts, by the way, was that yellow unicorn, the yellow one that didn't talk and wasn't Colgate. Both of them also unicorn ponies. Lyra smiles and waves to Twilight, but Twilight shows no signs of noticing her or Amethyst. Lyra stares at her with a deadpan expression like, huh? While Amethyst doesn't seem to care, like, yeah, whatever. The ponies that Twilight passes will also make appearances in Ponyville later on. After a run up an ivory-colored spire, Twilight barges through the door and inadvertently knocks over Spike, her dragon assistant, in the process. The gift-wrapped teddy bear he was carrying gets impaled on his tail. She instructs him, I can't say that word, to find the book, Predictions and Prophecies. Spike explains that the gift was meant for Moon Dancer, and Twilight replies that they have no time for that. To which Spike protests, quote, "But we're on a break!" Twilight uses her unicorn magic to search for the book, and angrily calls for Spike, who has already found it. She magically pulls the book, still held by Spike, and drops all the other books she was looking through, leaving them for Spike to pick up and shelve. Yeah. Note how it's Dragon Assistant and not Dragon Slave. What? Never mind. Oh, where was I? Damn. There it is. She reads that that the Mare and the Moon is to be freed from her imprisonment on the longest day of the 1000th year. The stars will aid in her escape, and she will bring, quote, nighttime eternal. This day is also the day of the year's summer sun celebration. From this information, Twilight draws the conclusion that the Mare and the Moon and Nightmare Moon are in fact one and the same. Hello. Spike falls off his ladder right on Twilight Sparkle's back, and she instructs him to take a letter to Princess Celestia, warning her of the return of Nightmare Moon. While she's dictating the letter, Nightmare Moon's visage can be seen through the giant hourglass on a similarly shaped statue as Twilight passes it. Yeah, that's a little hidden Easter egg, I would say. I mean, maybe if you saw it first without actually going back and trying to find it. Yeah, now I was one of those people who actually did that. I was like, I saw this in like a I don't know what it was, like something that had to do with the show, but they like emphasized that, look, Nightmare Moon is there, and I'm like, what? I go back, I watch the episode again, I'm like, yeah, you're right. Anyway, when Twilight asks Spike to send the letter, he mentions that the princess is busy getting ready for the summer sun celebration. The day after quote, the day after tomorrow, unquote. Twilight replies by saying that it's the 1000th day of the summer sun celebration. 1000th day, 1000th year of the sun celebration. Or 1000th day of the summer sun celebration. And the princess must be told right away. Spike takes a deep breath and breathes green fire in the letter, which disappears into twinkling smoke as it is sent to the princess. After a brief conversation with Twilight, she asserts the princess trusts her completely. Spike belches green fire and the scroll materializes from it, which he reads to Twilight. The letter is addressed to, quote, my dearest, most faithful student Twilight, unquote, and affirms that Celestia trusts Twilight completely, but then tells Twilight she must stop reading, quote, those dusty old books, unquote. And yes, I am quoting and unquoting everything here, so I'm at 13 minutes after the first act. You know what, let's just keep going. Alright, up next, meeting ponies in Ponyville. So, Twilight, Sparkle, and Spike are being carried in a flying chariot by 2 Pegasus ponies in Royal Guard armor, heading to Ponyville. Spike continues reading the letter in which Celestia tells Twilight that there's more to life than studying and gives her the task of supervising the preparations for the festival set up this year in the town of Ponyville. The letter ends with one other task for her to complete. As quoted by Spike reading Princess Celestia's letter, quote, make some friends. Twilight groans at the idea, and Spike then tries to cheer her up by telling her she'd be staying in the library. She surmises she will check on the preparations as fast as she can, and then head to the library to find proof on Nightmare Moon's return. I think Spike talks to her about, what about making friends? Like the princess said. Well, Twilight goes on to say, quote, I am her student, and I'll do my royal duty, but the fate of Equestria does not rest on me making friends, unquote. Shortly after landing, Spike talks Twilight into trying to make friends with another pony, believing that some of the residents may have something interesting to talk about. A pink pony with a curly pink tail and mane walks up to them. And when Twilight says hello, she gasps, springs into the air, and zips out of frame. As Twilight says, well, that was interesting, alright. Unquote. Quote, well, that was interesting, alright. Unquote. Up next, Applejack. This is all part of the same act, by the way. Twilight and Spike arrive at Sweet Apple Acres, where they see Applejack kicking a tree to harvest its apples. She vigorously shakes Twilight's hoof, and when she hears Twilight is there to supervise the preparations, offers her to sample some food. Applejack rings a rusty triangle and summons her large family by saying, quote, "Soup's on, everybody!" I can't do it as good as she did. Which includes her brother Big Macintosh, or Macintosh, whatever. Macintosh, I don't know. I thought it was M-A-C, but apparently it's M-C. Sister Applebloom, and Granny Smith. Twilight is pleased to see the food situation is handled and politely says she'll be on her way. Applebloom then invites her to stay for brunch. Twilight turns down Applebloom's invitation for brunch, but the disappointing reaction of the entire Apple family causes her to begrudgingly change her mind. Yeah. Next, Rainbow Dash. Spike walks down the path with Twilight Sparkle following behind with her stomach swollen, groaning about having eaten too much pie. Spike mentions a Pegasus pony named Rainbow Dash is supposed to be clearing the skies, but after a quick look, Twilight quips that she's not doing a very good job, is she? Dash accidentally crashes into Twilight, sending them both into a mud puddle. She giggles and apologizes, then brings over a cloud to rain-wash Twilight. The rain soaks Twilight, and Dash attempts to dry her with a small twister which frizzles Twilight's mane. That is the rain blow dry. Dash and Spike fall down on the ground laughing at the sight. Twilight concludes that the Pegasus pony is Rainbow Dash and introduces herself, saying she's here to check on the weather. Dash nonchalantly shrugs it off and informs Twilight that she'll get to it once she's done practicing for the Wonderbolts, an aerial acrobatic team similar to the Blue Angels. Twilight scoffs at the idea, challenging Dash to demonstrate her claim to aerial abilities and astound Twilight with their speed and agility. Rainbow Dash claims that she can clear the sky in 10 seconds. Rainbow Dash claims that, Rainbow says, quote, "Hey, I can clear the sky in 10 seconds flat." Again, Rainbow claims that she can clear the sky in, quote, 10 seconds flat, unquote. Whatever. And exactly 10 seconds elapse between Twilight's "prove it" response and the last cloud being kicked away. Seriously, guys, try this out. It works. She did do it in 10 seconds flat. I think from when she goes, she takes the challenge to when she sits down, that is 10 seconds right there. That's amazing. Maybe more, maybe less. I don't know. Someone has to try that out. Anyway, Dash chuckles and invites Twilight to hang out some more sometime, then flies away. Spike then goes, "Whoa, she's amazing!" and then plays with her hair. And, yeah, she walks off, and he's like, "Wait, it's kind of pretty when you think about it." Well, let's just move on. Anyway, let's just move on. Yeah. Rarity! That's right. The scene fades into the inside of the town square pavilion. Spike utters in awe. She's, decorations. Beautiful. Not she's beautiful, just beautiful. And Twilight agrees the decor is coming along nicely. Beautiful indeed. And then Spike goes, quote, "Not the decor, her," unquote. Spike points to Rarity, and little pink hearts start bubbling out of his head. Twilight rolls his eyes and greets Rarity, who finishes some decorating and turns to her. Upon seeing Twilight's messy mane, she drags her off to her boutique to give her a makeover. Once Rarity decides on Twilight's look, she asks Twilight where she's from. Twilight starts saying she's from Canterlot, and Rarity cuts her off, glamorizes Canterlot, and cozies up to Twilight. "Best of friends, you and I." when Mare turns away to get a different jewel, to get rubies instead of emeralds, Twilight makes her escape, as she says, quote, "Quick, before she decides to dominate, code a new color." Yeah, that's definitely rare, unquote. That's definitely rarity. Fluttershy. Spike is writing Twilight on the way for the next list item on the next list item to inspect. Music, the last one. A choir, I can't speak today. A choir of birds is heard from a short distance, and Spike and Twilight investigate from the bushes. A yellow Pegasus with a pink mane, soon to be identified as Fluttershy, is orchestrating the bird choir, quietly and politely telling one of the birds that he's a tiny bit off. Twilight introduces herself with a loud "hello," which makes the birds fly off. Twilight apologizes for frightening the birds and compliments Fluttershy on the music, but Fluttershy shyly stares at the ground and says nothing. Twilight tries to break the awkward silence by asking Fluttershy for her name, but her replies are too quiet and timid to clearly make it out. Like, I'm Fluttershy. After another awkward pause, Twilight hesitantly concludes that everything is in order and turns to leave. Fluttershy catches a glimpse of Spike, flies in the air, and exclaims, "A baby dragon!" She knocks him at Twilight. Boom! Boom, man! Get out the way! Get out the way, man! Get out the way! Whatever. And tells Spike she's never seen a baby dragon before. She fawns over Spike, but Twilight magically pulls him into her onto her back and starts walking off with Fluttershy following them and conversing with Spike. She introduces herself as Fluttershy and keeps questioning Spike on the long way to the library, much to Twilight's dismay. Spike tells Fluttershy that he hatched from a, quote, "cute little purple and green egg," unquote. Though later in the series, in the Kingdom Chronicles, which another episode we'll be talking about later, the egg he hatches is only purple with no green at all. Meh. By the time they reach the library, Spike has finished talking about his entire life story up until their arrival in Ponyville. Twilight tries to brush off Fluttershy, claiming she needs to put Spike to bed. She rudely blocks her way inside and wishes her goodnight. Inside the library, it's pitch black, and only Twilight and Spike can be dimly seen. Their eyes kept bright, despite the darkness. Spike sarcastically complains about Twilight's rudeness. Rude much? And Twilight apologizes and explains she needs to be alone to study about Night Moon without a bunch of crazy ponies trying to make friends all the time. The light flicks on, showing dozens of ponies standing around who yell, "Surprise!" Streamers and balloons drop everywhere, and a party whistle, or whatever, party favorite, whatever, blows right in front of Twilight's face before the scene fades to black. That is the end of Act 2. Act 3 rolls around. This is, here it is. Pinkie Pie. Starts out as Pinkie Pie right here. Of course, I'm one of my scenes. Acts and then scenes, right? Surprise! The pink pony from earlier introduces herself as Pinkie Pie. It's just 24-minute crap. Half-hour episode. No! You've been great if you've stayed through here. Pink pony from earlier, and says she threw the party in on her Twilight. Pinkie Pie. She's very talkative, barely letting Twilight get a word in, explained that she gasped when she saw Twilight because she got the idea to throw her a party when she saw her and realized she's new in town. Twilight pours herself a drink, which turns out to be hot sauce, and comically whisks out of the room with her mane on fire. Pinkie adds some of the sauce over a cupcake before eating it, causing the others to look at her awkwardly. However, Pinkie starts that, quote, "That's good," unquote. Derpy Hose. There's a minor little note here. During this party scene, a gray Pegasus pony with straw-colored hair. Straw? Really? is standing in the background in several shots. During the hot sauce sequence, her face is initially obscured. This is, of course, when she's bouncing up and down, like, and there's still... I'm not sure if she's drinking at this point. It's near Twilight's horn. I don't know. But after Twilight finishes pouring herself hot sauce, her entire face is visible. And there it is, right there. And she's making an odd face with her nose scrunched and her eyes crossed. This pony was eventually popularized by fans and named Derpy. Now to Twilight's room. Twilight is lying in her bed, annoyed, checking the clock. Spike enters the room and invites her for a party game. She snaps at him, yelling, quote, "All the ponies in this town are crazy!" unquote. And he explains it's the eve of the summer sun celebration and that every pony has to stay up or they'll miss the rising of the sun. He tries to soothe her and leaves. Twilight mockingly repeats his last sentence and dramatically complains to herself about all the, quote, ridiculous friend-making, unquote. She remembers the few words about the prophecy from the book. Nightmare Moon would return during the longest day of the 1000th year. Twilight assumed that she was sent to Ponyville because Princess Celestia would think the Mare and the Moon is just an, quote, old pony's tale, unquote. Just then Spike barges in and invites her to watch the sunrise. Here we are. Last scene. The return of Nightmare Moon. At the town hall, Pinkie meets up with Spike and Twilight and goes on about how excited she is. You excited? Because I'm excited. I've never been so excited. Well, except for the time I saw you and went, but really, who could top that? Fluttershy's bird choir plays, and the mayor gives a short speech announcing the beginning of the summer sun celebration. Near the end of the speech, Twilight nervously watches the moon undergo a transformation. The mayor introduces Princess Celestia, who is mysteriously absent. Rarity announces the princess is gone, and the sound effect of Pinkie's gasp from earlier in the episode is heard. Pinkie yelps when she spots an eerie, glowing fog, and the crowd gasps. Yeah, you can't really say that word without messing it up. Twilight recognizes the pony that appears out of the fog as Nightmare Moon, making Spike faint. Nightmare Moon addresses the crowd of cowering ponies, saying, quote, "Am I not royal enough for you? Don't you know who I am? Don't you know who I am?" It's not really a dignitary thing, but I don't know. English dignitary, I don't know. Pinkie Pie takes Nightmare Moon's question literally and throws out several gestures in rapid succession before getting a cupcake shoved in her mouth. And Applejack was already holding Rainbow Dash from attacking Nightmare Moon. Yeah, she's a little bit shoved in her mouth by Applejack, who's also holding Rainbow Dash from attacking Nightmare Moon. Nightmare Moon, though, continues, confronting Fluttershy and Rarity with accusing questions, which prompt Twilight to answer her, saying, quote, "You're the Mare and the Moon. Nightmare Moon," unquote. Even though none of the ponies recognize Nightmare Moon, in a later episode, which is Luna Eclipsed, revolves around an annual festival called Nightmare Night, where tales of Nightmare Moon are told and candy is offered to a statue bearing her image. What? What? How does no one recognize this? Among the ponies in this scene are Apple Bloom, Sweetie Belle, and Scootaloo. Yes, the Cutie Mark Crusaders are together before the Cutie Mark Crusaders even happen. What? They're all huddling under a table, but they only introduce themselves to each other and call the cutie. What? What? This is why making a timeline is so difficult. A layout artist working on the show explained that this was an oversight on his part. Wow. Yeah, good job there. After Twilight reveals Nightmare Moon's name, the crowd gasps and Nightmare Moon tells Twilight she's impressed with her knowledge. She asks Twilight if she also knows why she's here, but Twilight is too scared to answer. The episode ends with Nightmare Moon proclaiming that this will be the pony's last day, and that the night will last forever. She laughs maniacally with a lightning storm gathering around her, and Twilight realizes that things are about to become worse. Quote, a lot worse, unquote. So that's it. That's it. That's the episode right there. There you go. 30 minutes of an episode. And there you have it. That is episode 1. Friendship is... Well, basically, we're going to do... Now, the next 10 minutes are, of course, going to be some allusions that kind of got passed, but no one could, like, recognize. Now, the episode's title that appears in Hasbro's viewing guide as...
Name Mare in the Moon is a play on the mythical Man in the Moon. The man's image is actually composed of lunar Maria, the darker section of the moon's surface. Moon Dancer, mentioned but unseen in the episode, is actually a name of a G1 and 3 pony. Twilight Sparkle resides in a literal ivory tower. Yeah, and by the way, ivory tower, that actually originates in the biblical Song of Solomon, 7:5, later used as an epithet for Mary. Epithet for Mary, rather. That's a term. That is just a term for biblical stuff. But this actually happened here, literally. Anyway, Spike shouting, "But we're on a break," is similar to a phrase connected to a plot point in the 90s sitcom Friends between characters Rachel and Ross during season 3. The phrase eventually becomes an iconic running gag through the entire series. But we're on a break! One of the costumes Twilight tries on in Rarity's boutique looks like Statue of Liberty, New York Harbor. One of the names Pinky guesses to Nightmare Moon is Hokey Smokes, a phrase used by Rocky the Flying Squirrel from the Rocky and Bullwinkle show. Yeah, Rocky and Bullwinkle. Another one of the names Pinky guesses is Black Snooty, a reference to the famous horse character Black Beauty. The image of Luna and Celestia working together to keep the day-night cycle in balance at 28 seconds in is similar to the symbol of Taoism, which is made of yin and yang, darkness and light. Think about it, people. We're getting this reference. You guys get all these references. You're great. Like, that's amazing, guys. Thanks so much for getting these allusions. Alright. Animation error time. These are animation errors. Basically, these are going to be some stuff that people looked at and they never really fixed. Here we go. As Twilight runs up towards the Canterlot Library, her animation snaps from moving diagonally on the screen to moving vertically on the screen with no intermediate turning animation. Yeah. The first book Twilight pulls out of the bookshelf in the library is Upside Down. At brunch with the Apple family, Applejack shoves an apple in Twilight's mouth, and it's green, but when Twilight spits the fragments of the apple out, they're red! And of course her face does that whole thing. Her eye just like goes a little crazy. When Twilight flees from Rarity's, the emerald overlaps her right foreleg, right here. In addition, the bracelet is missing from her left foreleg. What? As Fluttershy says, he's so cute when meeting Spike, her mane detaches from the back of her head? I don't know. Her head? I don't know. When Spike says, well to Twilight, her cutie mark is missing. When Fluttershy walks to Twilight, she blinks and gets Twilight's eye model. When she blinks again, it's back to her regular model. During the same scene, Twilight's eyes turn black every time she looks behind her. The thing with Fluttershy is not an animation error, apparently. It's not an error, that just happens when excited. Also, her eyeliner is deeper than Twilight's. You're not? Whatever. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, I can see. Kind of hard to describe what happened with the eye.
It's like, what? I don't know. During the reveal of the surprise party Pinky organized, there's a section of the floor on the right that changes from red to yellow and then by segments back into red again. What? A gray Pegasus. A gray Pegasus's eyes are crossed, blah 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 blah, derpy hooves, standing in the background while Twilight Sparkle is chatting with Pinkie Pie at her welcome party. Soon after the episode aired, fans named the character Derpy Hooves. Lauren Faust has said that it's probably an accident, or perhaps a layout artist entertaining themselves. During Pinkie's surprise party, the Pegasus standing next to Derpy has multicolored wings. Cool. When Twilight is pouring hot sauce on her cup, a shot show 2 other cups filled with hot sauce, but in the next shot, 1 cup is missing, and the other one has a green liquid in it instead of the red one. That's the actual drink that she was trying to pour, I'm guessing. When Twilight and Spike meet Rarity for the first time, Rarity is choosing between ribbons, but there's no magic glowing on those. Ugh. When the mayor says, "And now is my great honor," Pinkie is shown with her front... without her front legs. Her front legs go! I don't know. What? Her front legs are gone. More of a continuing era, the CMC are shown together during the Iron Man's evil villain speech before they are supposed to meet. When the flying chariots land, Big Macintosh's cutie mark has sparkles. Yep, that was the only time. When Twilight spits out the apple for a split second to close the eye, of course, overlaps between her open eyes. That's the problem. During the scene after the opening credits, when Twilight refuses an invitation to a party, Twinkleshine, the talking one, her voice changes with every sentence. What? The first time we see Applejack, her freckles are gone. This is, of course, every single time that she runs. And when Twilight says hello to Pinkie Pie for the first time, Pinkie's upper eyelashes are upside down. Yeah. And her hooves detached from her legs. Yeah. There is a lot of that to go around. Okay. So that's it for animation errors, and we got 37. So... up next, the statistics and the speculations. So here's some statistics, speculation stuff. Here we are. This is the first time Twilight Sparkle appears in an episode of the series, as all the others do. It's the first episode of Villain, Nightmare Moon in this case, appears, and it's also the only episode in which it starts with a storybook. That's pretty cool. Yeah, those statistics are pretty easily... Those statistics are, like, pretty easy. Now, speculation. Now, what's the speculation? So we have a few speculations of this. We have the core myth, etc., etc. Twilight's Ivory Tower, Twilight herself. Could be a pun on the first episode, apparently. Her name. Wow. I don't know. The prophecy could be one. Luna eclipsed. The reference there. They don't recognize her then. They don't recognize her here, but they do that. But they do later. The celebration, etc., etc. Yeah, these are just like chats or something like that. So there you have it. That's it. The summary. You got the summary, the illusions, the animation errors, the statistics, and the speculations of Episode 1 of Friendship is Magic. Friendship is Magic Part 1, a.k.a. Man in the Moon, just so you don't get it mixed up. Up next, Part 2, a.k.a. Elements of Harmony. I believe that's what it's called, is it? I believe that's what it's called. Come on, please. There you go. Yep, Elements of Harmony. Elements of Harmony. Up next, guys. Stay tuned. By the way, the actual update episode, that will be tomorrow. So, stay tuned for that. I will see you guys later.